We're getting ready. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the Mike Lenoci Show. Week 2 in the books here. Episode 2, because we are officially in football season mentally. Are we? I mean, there's still basketball news. Again, coming off last week when we were like, this is the most boring time of the year. There's basketball news still. We don't know what's going on with Damian Lillard, and it seems like the Miami Heat are willing to be patient with him, which is exciting news because it seems like the vibe right now is that Damian Lillard is in no rush to ask for a trade, that they could see how, Summer League goes and how Scoot plays, and maybe it could be a fit. I don't know, but there's going to be a lot of teams making some moves in the next 3 weeks. And Miami could miss out on a lot because clearly they need to add somebody to help them keep up with the big 3 teams in the Eastern Conference Championship, in the Eastern Conference, I should say.
And Draymond can go to the Blazers and just then they keep Dame. They could add a big veteran. He told the team he wanted veterans, so if they get a veteran, then he's staying there.
I mean, I think that's fine, but I think we all know that Draymond's not going to put them over the edge.
But that'll make him stay, is what I'm saying. So free agency starts tomorrow, right?
Does it make him stay?
Thursday. So
Draymond and Lillard and a rookie is going
they
to put
go
them
out
in the top 5. No, they're still like they need.
I'm not saying they'll be great. I'm saying if they do that, it's for him to stay.
I think that's true. That could possibly, they wouldn't make that trade unless they said, would this be good enough? But I just feel like that's not. He needs like a very valuable guy. I mean, because you got to look at the roster and be like, well, this isn't even going to compete with the 5 teams that are favored with Denver, Phoenix, Memphis, Lakers. Those are the 4.
I think they really wanted Beal. Beal would have been great with them.
Possibly.
Right?
I didn't hear them talking about going for Beal. I didn't hear that in the
I didn't hear it either, but I'm saying I feel that'd be a great fit. They wanted like a great 2 guard.
Well, there's a lot that can still happen. We still have. We're assuming players are staying and going. We assume Harden could leave.
Yeah,
he could stay. I was thinking like, what if like nobody's talking about anywhere else besides Houston came up with Harden, but like imagine if he went to somewhere like Milwaukee. Isn't that an upgrade? You're like, well, what's the difference between them? A big guy with him. It's just like, it's such a big difference. It's just like, there's something about Giannis that seems a little bit better, more of a better player than Embiid.
Yeah, and the pick and roll would be insane. It
just seems like that. And like you even mentioned, what if Harden for some reason went to the Lakers?
That would be awesome, dude.
I think that's actually a perfect fit because then you have a shooter.
Yeah, and he could bring the ball up too. You still got Austin Reeves on the wing. Then you got freaking LeBron and AD.
If they could keep all of that.
Yeah, I mean, you got Lonnie Walker too.
I don't know what they're gonna. I mean, he's 39 this year.
LeBron. Yeah, I mean,
this is crazy.
So they need a James Harden then, kind of, right?
They need someone. LeBron needs to be the 3rd best player on the team if they want to win. Because he can't be the best player. We already saw it last playoffs. Whether that was an injury to his ankle, he just is not. He doesn't have that explosiveness that he used to have. So I think that if he plays the role of a Jimmy Butler style with Anthony Davis and another shooting guard that can put up 25 easily. I mean, listen, if D'Angelo Russell puts up 25 points against Denver, they're in the finals.
Yeah, they're talking.
That's what it was.
He might be gone though, right?
He's for sure gone.
Yeah, but could Dame go there? You think?
No, that's just like not.
It's just stupid.
They would have to give up so much. I mean, that would be great if he went there. But I feel like the thing that if Dame leaves, it seems like he's going to Miami
or Brooklyn, which sucks.
I've heard that, but I feel like it's like I feel like he's like if he's going somewhere, he's going to look at the rosters and be like, I would like to go there. I've been loyal to you guys for 11 seasons. Help me out. They don't have to listen to him. They could trade him to wherever they want, to be honest. He doesn't have a no trade clause.
Where do you think, I mean, this isn't a huge free agent, but it could help. Where do you think Tobias Harris could go? It'd be a good fit.
Do you want him? I feel like he's bombed the last 3 years.
Well, yeah. Did you see what the Sixers said about him? Sixers fans.
Well, I saw that he had a comment for them.
Hey, he goes, trade speculation. Casual Sixers fans. They said they'll trade me for a crumble cookie.
Yeah. I would be disappointed. I mean, listen, you're looking at Jimmy Butler in Miami, and you're like, we could have had him. If you had Jimmy Butler, Harden, and Embiid, I feel like they would have went to at least 2 finals. Would have seen Philly in 2 finals, but they went with Tobias Harris instead, and essentially Ben Simmons, who's I feel like not even going to be in the league in 2 years.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
there's going to be a 30 for 30 about Ben Simmons.
They were. When was that game? He was running off the court, Butler, one day saying, Tobias over me?
That was when he eliminated the 76ers.
Last year?
Not last year.
In the bubble?
In the bubble.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because the year after that, they got beat in the first round by Milwaukee.
You're right, yeah, okay.
And then the second year, we lost to Boston. But yeah, it was the bubble year. He's like, Tobias Harris over me?
That was funny.
Yeah, it might have been that year. I believe it, but yeah.
But that was an insane contract he got. Remember when he got signed? It was like 133
I remember it was big, but he was supposed to be like I didn't really know who Tobias Harris was until that year. They're like, oh, he's supposed to be like a pretty good small forward that like can score a lot.
He was a solid small forward on the Clippers, but not worth that money. That was crazy.
So that's kind of what's hovering around the NBA news. We were just actually watching a documentary about the 1996 NBA draft, which people argue, what's the greatest draft class of all time? You have the 96 draft class, you have the 03 draft class with LeBron and Carmelo, and then you have the 84 draft with Jordan.
84.
I mean, obviously that one has Jordan and a few other.
Hakeem
Olajuwon.
John Stockton. I think already you can't replace Jordan, but the other two can be replaced with the 96 one I think is the deepest for sure.
It wins.
Oh, and you got Sam Perkins and you got Charles Barkley, 84.
Yep. So it's just literally the problem with that one is there's just 6 championship wins with that draft. Oh, actually 8.
Hakeem won. Right?
Hakeem won 2 with Houston.
Yeah, it's just that's probably the most top-heavy one, I'd say, right? Is that more top-heavy than LeBron, Wade, and Melo?
Well, LeBron has 4. Wade has 3.
So you're
Bosh
just going off
2.
the championships?
What? Well, if you go by championships and MVPs,
yeah,
it has the 96 has the most MVPs and championships, right?
It's got to. I mean,
because Kobe's got his 5.
And Nash has that.
What?
Nash has 1 or 2. He has 2 MVPs.
2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Which one was taken away from Kobe and given to him because Kobe had his allegations, so they didn't vote him. It's the same thing. Like Kobe should have 2 MVPs and LeBron should have 5. They give it to Derrick Rose that year because he did the decision. But everybody knows LeBron should have won MVP that year too. LeBron should have won 3 in a row and should have had 5 MVPs.
Yeah, there was a few years when like Curry, Westbrook, even the Harden, when those guys won, everybody's like, LeBron could have won too. Giannis.
LeBron could have arguably won from 2008 to 2018. He could have won an MVP.
Yeah,
and they gave him 4, and they gave one to KD, Westbrook, Harden, Curry twice.
Yeah,
and and then in the 2000s, 1 went to Dirk, 2 went to Nash, 1 went to Kobe, 1 went to I don't know who else. Did Paul Pierce ever win it? No. Oh,
no.
KG.
No, they never won an MVP.
KG won an MVP.
In
Kevin
the 90s?
Garnett.
Or
What?
2001, right?
Yeah, he won it in the 2000s. After 2001, because I think 2001 is in that. Is it
yeah,
Shaq?
that's AI. Duncan 2002.
3.
Duncan 2003.
Duncan has 2.
Yeah, so then Kevin Garnett was 2004.
And then
I
2005.
forgot.
2005 is Nash. 6 is Nash.
Yep.
7 is Kobe.
Yep.
8 is Dirk.
Nope. 7 is Dirk.
8 is Kobe.
Yeah, because that's when.
But Kobe should have won it in the second year Nash won it.
And then LeBron won it in 2009.
And 10.
So 2009.
And then they didn't give it to him in 11, which he should have won it. They gave it to Derrick Rose, and then they gave it back to LeBron in 12 and 13. LeBron should have won 5 in a row, to be honest, which was the most dominant.
So
5.
LeBron won 20.
He won 4 in 5 years. That's how dominant he was. He should have won 5 in a row.
Wait. Okay. Derrick Rose came in second.
Who?
In 2010, I think.
Who did?
Derrick Rose came in second in 2010.
Derrick Rose won it in 2010.
2011.
Or 2011.
Yeah, but 2010, I think Derrick Rose was second still. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
He was right out the gate. He had 3 good years, but he should have never won it. It was the decision thing that ruined it.
So LeBron won back-to-back in Cleveland.
He won back-to-back in Cleveland, went to Miami. They didn't give it to his first year in Miami, then won the 2 years he won MVP. They won the championship as well.
Okay, so he won 2010, 2009 and 2010 in Cleveland, and then so he won 2 in Cleveland.
Yes.
But then those were the 2 years that he got bounced by the Celtics.
I think, yeah, maybe
That was
Orlando 1 year, yeah, or Celtics, yeah.
That was like his prime.
That's when he was just like, but I mean, like, that's the whole thing. When you look back on history now, you're like, the Celtics built a super team to beat him. They were the first ones to build a super team.
To beat him, or I think
They
it all
built
kind of
a
happened.
No,
they built the super team.
They strictly built that team to beat LeBron. They're like, okay, this guy's going to dominate it. What if we bring 3 superstars together?
But
They were
it's
the first
kind of
team to
weird
do
because teams do that when they've been beat. So they were doing that preemptively. LeBron never beat the Celtics.
No, but
with the-
everybody,
with the
LeBron
Cavs.
went in his dude, in that 2007 series, everybody in the nation saw, oh, the Pistons are finally done.
Yeah.
The Heat are done because Shaq left, and the Pistons and LeBron had just showed everybody in his 4th year, 4 years in the league, he showed everyone. He carried the Cavs to the finals. He was down 3-2 to the Pistons and was like, watch me take over, and just took over with nobody on that team. And I think everybody was just like, okay, whatever they do in Cleveland, this guy's going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals every single year or competing for it.
Yeah.
Boston comes out and has a good year and knocks him out. Orlando has a fluke year, and then they're contenders now because of Dwight Howard's all of a sudden star. They built a good team around him. But the Celtics were like, how do we even compete? Because they were like mid with Pierce. They had a good team, but they're like, we can't get over the hump either. And I think they were like losing to, they were in the playoffs every year. They were losing the Pistons and the Miami.
Yeah.
So then they build this super team, and then now LeBron's like, we're not doing anything to get past this. And we're clearly, he even said years later, he's like, I couldn't get anyone to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I couldn't get anyone to come play there.
Remember his second best player, dude, was that point guard was it Mo Williams? Dude, he was good.
He had
Yes, I remember. Yeah, Mo Williams, dude. Great player. But that was the second best. You didn't even know who he is.
He had the center with the hair.
Varejao, yeah, but this guy made some huge shots.
I mean, bro, they didn't really have.
Delonte West. I mean, like,
He went homeless after sleeping with his wife, or his mom, I guess,
that's crazy, huh?
if that's true.
You think that's true? That's crazy.
I've heard
dude.
a few things about LeBron's mom. That's all I know. That
What have you
she's
heard?
kind of like a wild person.
For real?
There's people that have slept with her. Lots of people. Like she gets down like that.
When you say people, you mean players? Or
Other players or agents or whatever, like she's just like.
man,
There was another one I heard
dude, I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole now. That's insane. I didn't
about
know that.
LeBron's mom with someone else too, and it's just like he just has to like accept that like his mom's allowed to do what she wants, whatever makes her happy.
She's not a.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to get into it. We don't want to get shadow banned on YouTube because the most powerful basketball player in history has control of us. But why were we talking about? Oh, so basically, the '96 draft is pretty much.
Yeah.
It was. We were just watching. It's just crazy that Kobe went 13.
Yeah, dude. And I don't understand. Like I just made a comment to John Calipari. He ended up having a great career, like you said, in college. But if he picks Kobe, his whole life's different. Do you like that little like?
I mean, you could do this at every draft, though.
Yeah, but it's but there's
different with
3
Kobe.
guys. There's 3 for sure guys that you could say like. There's no like he said. We loved Kobe, but the guy that they picked just filled a better need at the time. LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan. You take those guys
And now
over
this year.
And who? And Victor?
Yeah, Victor.
Yeah. You take those guys over anybody. So
Would you be crazy enough if you were running an organization like San Antonio to be like, we'll trade you the whole, like would the Celtics be would you be like, give us Tatum and Brown and your first round pick, and we'll give you Victor. Like, if you're on the other end, like, even if you're Boston, you got to be like, yeah. Like, or no, because, like, you feel like you're right here. Well, and you feel like in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to get a chip with this Boston team.
Yeah.
But it seems like this Victor guy seems like if he is like a Kobe, a Jordan, a LeBron, I guess with Zion, he was so hyped up, but I don't think anybody was like, he's going to be like, I think they're like, this guy's pretty fucking dominant. He was the most hyped guy since LeBron. Yeah. And then this Victor guy is the most, even more than Zion a little bit. Zion was American, so we saw his highlights in high school. It was similar to LeBron, but we assume Victor is gonna win multiple championships. He has to, or it's a failed. It's a fail.
He's in a great place to do it, and it's one of those places that, like, dude, you can put anybody around him. You could get a big to put there. You could get a great guard.
I'm just curious. I just want to watch him play and then understand what you have to do to build around him. Yeah, I don't understand how he really works in the NBA yet.
Yeah, but there's still like, but going back to like Kobe, that's just a different. You've seen talented players, but there's nobody that played like Kobe in high school. He played that
like they were saying. They weren't drafting high school players yet. That was a new rule. You didn't have to do the college eligibility thing, and then they took that away, I think, in like 2004, actually. 2004, the year after LeBron comes in, they change it back to where you have to have – so they kept that rule for like 10 years.
You have to go to college. Yeah, it's there's some great players in that era. Dwight Howard came out of high school. Tracy McGrady came out of high school.
Tracy McGrady's great.
Yeah, he's one of probably the best offensive players. But this guy kind of reminds me of like this guy's just got to be like KD.
Victor?
Yeah, in the sense of like just a great all-around player, but even more better than KD because he can post.
Yeah,
up.
I mean, like KD wasn't playing from the perimeter.
What do you mean? Like shooting?
Oh, Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of KG.
Oh, KG, yeah.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah. He is exactly like KD.
Yeah,
but probably a little bit like That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if he's going to be playing inside more and not shooting threes.
Yeah.
Like, or is he just going to be like this dominant in the paint guy that shoots mids? Where they're like, oh, when he's got a big defender on him, they'll push him outside a little bit, and sometimes he'll hit threes. Like he's going to shoot 3 threes a game, or is this guy going to fucking shoot 10 threes a game like Curry?
I think somewhere in the middle. I think he's
or like KD. KD shoots 10 threes a game.
But he just takes the ball at the top of the key and just crosses people.
Is he going to dribble? Is he going to take the ball up the court?
He could, but he's like KD. However KD gets his shots, that's what he's going to do.
He takes the ball up the court at 7'5". Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
doesn't it just not make sense?
Yeah, he's that athletic, dude. He's great handles, and he can just. But dude, who do you? Watch what we're saying. Who do you think won 2014 MVP?
2014 MVP. Can you tell me the? Well, if you tell me the team, that's too easy.
You'll for sure get it.
Hold on. So that's the last year of the Beatles, the Heatles, right?
Yeah.
We lose to San Antonio. None of what's his name never won an MVP. The point guard there.
At San Antonio?
Yeah.
Tony Parker?
He never won an MVP. No. He just won a Finals MVP. So then 2014 would have been who was there? They beat. I think that. Oh, well, is it not? Is that not KD's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of crazy? He only has one.
No.
You don't think so? He's so good though, dude.
I think it's so hard to be consistent. And then after that, he just kind of had injury problems. Because then in 2014, they get knocked out again because they go to the finals in 2011 against the Heat. And then from 12, 13, 14, they get bounced out by Dallas and San Antonio 3 years in a row. And then the first year LeBron goes back to Cleveland, he's starting to get bounced out by the Warriors. And they're up 3 games to 1. Do you remember that?
Yes. And
and now looking back now, everybody was like so mad that he left them to go to Golden State. When you were up 3 games to 1 against them and you couldn't close them out, that was your only year
Yeah.
You were going to beat Golden State, and you were up 3-1, and they
Yeah.
came back and won 3 in a row. It's over.
Yeah.
You're not beating that team, and you had the best team, and San Antonio now is old, so they're
Yeah.
out. You got rid of that dynasty,
Yeah.
and now Dallas and Dirk is old. They're gone. Phoenix is long gone. Kobe's old. This is your league, and now all of a sudden he's seeing this young Golden State team win. He's like, well, they're clearly gonna just run the West for the next 5 years. It's not that outrageous now looking back. Looking back, it's 9 years ago. You're like, oh, he saw it before we did. He
Yeah.
was seeing it firsthand. He was like, I was up 3-1. We were the second best team in the West. Kobe's now done. He's old. He's coming back from an Achilles injury. He's on his way out of the league.
Yeah.
Phoenix is done. Nash and them are done. That team got split up by then. Dallas, Dirk won. He's old. They're getting ready to be bad so they can get Luka soon.
Yeah.
So who was really good in the West in 2015 when Golden State? Who's Golden State beating? Was Houston starting to do good now, right?
Yeah, but they also, I think they played the Spurs, right? In 2015.
Well, the Spurs were still there, but they were done. They don't ever win another one.
Yeah.
But they were kind of like, once they beat the Heat, and that was Kawhi's Finals MVP. He kind of he gets injured.
Yeah.
So then something weird's going on with him, and then Duncan at that point, I think he retires in the next 3 years, right?
Yeah, but
who else is good in the West during those 4 years from 14 to 16? It was OKC. I think Houston starts getting better because Chris Paul eventually leaves, I think, in 2017 and goes and plays with Harden, right?
yeah, but in the West,
Yeah, in the West, those 4 years that Golden State goes.
the Clippers were really good then.
The
Yeah.
Clippers.
Yeah.
So the Clippers were like a favorite. They're like, okay, the Clippers might be able to compete and go for a ring now.
Yeah, dude, the 2014, the Blazers had a better record than the Warriors too.
Blazers had a couple good years
Yeah.
where you're like, okay. I mean, it was 3-4 years ago, Dame hits that game-winning shot from almost half court
Yeah.
over Paul George. Paul George is on OKC. Here's the guy that made the mistake. It's Paul George. They have a great squad in Indiana. They're competing with Miami every year.
Yeah, this year they had a better record than Miami. They were first. 2014.
Wow. And
Yeah.
Miami was the 2 seed?
Yeah.
Wow. So that team was pretty good. Who was on that team?
Paul George, Roy Hibbert. I think George Hill.
Yeah.
There
There was a number 2 guy. Oh, and then they had
Lance Stevenson.
Lance Stevenson was doing good.
Oh wait, not Miles Turner. Miles Turner was there. Oladipo was there.
Oladipo, but he wasn't what he became until after Paul George leaves.
Yeah, Danny Granger, old shooter. David West. So you got some.
David West, that he was a big piece of it. They were just playing well together, and Paul George was a stud.
Yeah.
Then he leaves, and I remember he has a meeting with Dwayne Wade, figuring out where he wants to go free agency wise.
Yeah.
That's in 2018 though. No, wait a minute. When did he leave Indiana?
Solomon Hill. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
When did Paul George leave Indiana to go to OKC?
Wasn't 2017?
Oh yeah, I remember he goes there, and it doesn't really work. They have some good squad because then, yeah, the year after KD leaves, Westbrook wins the MVP. The year after KD,
Yeah,
right?
Dude, Paul George is 33.
Yeah.
This is that much more time.
Was his mistake. He went to OKC, right, in
2017. Yeah, I was right.
to join. So
Russ.
2016, KD goes to Golden State.
Yeah.
So 2016, Westbrook's by himself, gets MVP. 2017, Paul George joins him. They're like, let's try this out. 2018, they tried it out again. It's not working. So now LeBron goes to the Lakers, and they try to get Paul George, and he instead decides to go to the Clippers. That's where he made a mistake.
Wait,
he should have went with LeBron.
To the Lakers?
Yeah.
Well,
They would have had.
yeah, that's all the same year, right? 2019.
Yep. He went because he met with Dwayne Wade, and I don't know why. He was like, I remember Dwayne Wade's like, you can go play with him, or you can try to be the guy. But if you go play with LeBron, you're not going to be the guy. And that's what he said. And he went in his head and goes, I want to be legendary.
But then they signed like the same day with Kawhi. Like they say at the same time.
No, Kawhi was there first.
Kawhi was there first?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty sure. But I remember he had the decision which LA team to go to, and he picked Kawhi.
I remember that. Yeah, and that's because he's from kind of around here, but
it just was
that
weird.
2018 OKC.
He didn't want to be part of that legacy. He wanted to be a part of a different legacy where it's like if he won with Kawhi, it's not such a Even though it would have been Kawhi's
coming
third
off of
Finals
Kawhi's,
MVP.
That was Kawhi won in 2019.
Yeah.
Yes. But OKC in 2018 they had Melo too. That was my favorite
it didn't work.
2K team. Yeah, I mean,
Melo made some bad decisions in his career too. He probably should have stayed in Denver. They had some good runs there.
Yeah,
they had some good runs, and I feel like he just was like, all right, I'm done. Let's try a new thing. Went home to New York, and they had some good teams, but like, they couldn't figure it out. But at that point, you're like, we got to compete with the Heat. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're right. And that's when he was with New York.
And we never got the New York-Miami matchups that we wanted. They never got to face each other. We always wanted that because they had it going in the 90s.
Those were great teams, dude. The Knicks, I remember watching them. Carmelo, they had Stoudemire, they had J.R. Smith, they had Tim Hardaway Jr. They were really good. Iman Shumpert, Tyson Chandler, Raymond Felton.
They couldn't even be like,
they were great.
But the Bulls and Pacers were better. Those were like the two teams we were always facing, and then also the Celtics. The Knicks weren't even a top 4 team.
You said Bulls?
Bulls were good from 2011.
Yeah.
All the time during the Heat, the Bulls are good.
They have Butler then? No, it was
no. Butler's he's a rookie or something. He's just irrelevant. Yes, he is there.
He's a rookie.
He doesn't even play his rookie year.
Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah.
Oh yeah, and
Tony Snell, the guy that has autism. Taj Gibson was really good too.
Yeah.
Pau Gasol was there. Mike Dunleavy.
There was a big dunk over his face. Yeah.
Do you remember?
The Gibson had a good run for a while.
Do you remember that little guy, Aaron Brooks?
Yeah.
He was great.
Anyways, let's get into NFL for a little bit.
Yeah, dude.
We got NFL because we are transitioning into football players now.
Into football players?
Yeah, we're transitioning into football fans because we're right around the road of what is it? Mini camp?
Training camp.
Training camp?
Mini camp's done.
Mini camp's done. We're going into training camp.
2 weeks.
And the Raiders, we'll cover the Raiders a little bit because we got some inside info on the Raiders. We got inside info on the Dolphins, and that's it. But what we know is the Raiders are going to be a mess.
Looks like it, dude. And
they're going to be a mess.
I was listening to something today. They were talking about how they lost Darren Waller to the Giants because it's simply because they think the only reason is because Josh McDaniels just pissed him off. Did you hear what Josh McDaniels did?
No.
He said to reporters that Darren Waller and Kelsey Plum, the WNBA player, were getting married. And he said when and where they were getting married, and he didn't want it to be public. So he got very mad at Josh McDaniels for leaking that he was getting married.
That can't be
trade me.
Why he got traded.
Yeah.
That's not a good enough reason.
So that's what they're saying. But you're right. But he got very mad at him. And what I was listening to today were saying that seems like a pretty common denominator. Nobody really gets along with McDaniels. And you can only do the Patriot way in New England.
Yeah, well, we've learned that over the last 20 years. We've watched every single assistant leave, and I think the only one who's had the best success, to be honest, is Brian Flores.
I knew you were going to say that, dude.
Right?
I mean, success.
He had winning seasons.
Yeah, if that's success, then yeah. But
sure. But I'm saying some of those other coaches didn't even have winning seasons. They bombed.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Judge bombed. Matt Patricia bombed.
Before that,
they go back. They all just go back.
The coordinators, the original coordinators from the first
Bill
dynasty.
O'Brien.
Before that, the original coordinators, who he went to Houston and coached for a little bit.
That's Bill O'Brien.
No, before that. I'm sorry. He went to Cleveland.
Oh.
Romeo Cromwell.
Yes.
First one, right? Bombs. Then the white guy. The white coordinator.
Eric Mangini.
He ended up coaching Notre Dame for a little bit.
Oh.
Man. Your original
Brian
coordinators who
Kelly.
won,
No.
they won the first 3 Super Bowls together, and then they left. It was their offensive and defensive coordinators. Romeo Crennel, right? Was that his name?
Yes.
I mean, you were so young, you don't remember, but these were
But
the.
he just coached the.
So these coordinators were the first 2 to get jobs from Bill Belichick. They won the 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and they had any job they wanted. And Romeo went to Cleveland thinking he was going to turn this organization around, bombed. And the other guy, Charlie Weiss went where?
Notre Dame.
I feel like he was on an NFL team first, no? And failed and then went to Notre Dame.
See, I just know this guy's mostly his Notre Dame coach.
Really? No, he was your, I believe your.
I knew he was with them. I didn't know he was.
He was part of the dynasty, dude.
He went to the Jets.
He was your. Well,
I'm sorry. He went right to Notre Dame.
Okay.
And then he was an OC with the Chiefs. Then he went back to college.
Yeah, so he struggled though in Notre Dame. It didn't work out.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was still the guy there for 4 years.
I just remember they didn't work out. Then you have Mangini, right?
Yeah. Then he ends up. He was the whistleblower for the whole Spygate thing.
It is annoying that they were doing it.
It's annoying that. Isn't that funny how that was a Patriots guy, then he goes to the Jets and he's the.
Well, because he caught them doing it to him.
Yeah, that's why.
Which is dumb on their part for why are you doing it to the team that you know your coach is over there.
He looks like Eric Mangini looks like Kevin James. So.
But it's just funny that they got the scapegoat of it. I'm sure other teams were also doing it. The Deflategate thing is weird too.
John Madden came out and said every team does that.
Yeah.
I mean, like John Madden.
I think I remember there was a story where the commissioner was like, clean this up behind the scenes. Like, get rid of this. And then when Deflategate came up, he's like, now I got to punish you. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
All eyes are on you. You guys have the dynasties. So, either way, now I'm saying assistants. I thought that even to this day, I think that what's-his-name is a great coach. And I think he will be a good coach again.
Who?
Flores.
Okay.
I thought of all the assistants that left, he was, he kind of had the Patriots way a little bit in Miami. It was working. 2 9-win seasons, like all the other guys didn't. The McDaniel, you said yourself, he gets to survive this season if they go 5-12.
Yeah. And not
2
only
losing
that,
seasons in a row, he gets to survive?
Yeah, dude. Well, what was their record last season?
6-11.
The Dolphins?
No, the Raiders. I'm talking about McDaniels. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, this is Mike McDaniel.
McDaniels went 6.
Oh, yeah, he's staying.
Even if they go 5-12, what if they lose? What if they win one less game?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of drama. He stays.
Mark Davis said he doesn't want to deal with coaching changes again. He doesn't.
So
want
this guy gets 3 years regardless.
Yeah.
So by his 3rd year, though, he has to win 8-9 games in his 3rd year next year.
Yes. But
how is he going to do that? It just doesn't seem like it's set up.
The thing is, you can't predict anything for the Raiders. Nobody, not even they know. It's such an unproven team. It's such a new team. And it's like even like this kind of feels like McDaniel's first year because it's like his team now. That's what he wants to do.
Sure.
And I'm surprised they didn't draft a quarterback, to be honest with you, dude. I'm surprised.
That they didn't?
I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah, I think that, maybe he thinks he can compete in the division with Garoppolo and what he is going to do there.
That, yeah.
And I think that's, that leads me to this. All right, I have written down 5 teams that I think will shock us.
Okay.
Because that's going to happen. Right?
Yeah. I have one.
There's going to be 5 shockers. Where you're like, well, we didn't see that coming. Like they say, every show's been talking about this in the last month or so. They're like, every year statistically, right? You have 14 playoff teams. There's 6 new playoff teams every year. If you go look at the history of the last 15 years in football, there's at least 6 or 5 new teams in the playoffs every single year.
Yeah.
So you have to pick it. As much as we all want to pick the same teams, it's so hard not to. Although it feels like if it ever was going to happen, it's going to happen in the AFC. It's going to be mostly the same. It feels that way a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But it's statistically, there's still going to be at least 2 teams in the AFC that were not in the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah.
And then in the NFC, it looks like that's where there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 teams that were not in the playoffs. I for sure think 49ers and Eagles are in.
Yeah.
But now, after that, it might not be the Giants. It might not be the Cowboys. It might not be the Vikings. It could be crazy. Who knows?
I have a surprise right here.
So who's your one shocker team?
I wrote here Bears make playoffs.
That's crazy.
I think Justin Fields is great. I think
That could be. And listen, what's the over-under on that? Their wins. Let's go to the over. Now, is that I could buy in that they do something crazier than what people think.
Dude,
but to give them 10 wins is crazy.
Dude, it doesn't have to be 10 wins. Remember a couple years ago they snuck in and they had like 8? Yeah, 7.5 is their over-under. So if they hit that.
Interesting.
If they get 8. Because, dude.
I like it.
The Vikings aren't a guarantee. The Vikings don't have
no.
Thielen. They don't have Dalvin Cook.
No, I think the Lions are the favorites.
100%. But I'm saying.
I think Lions are the favorites to win. But would we be shocked if the Lions stumbled and went 9-8?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked.
No, that's what I'm saying. That could happen. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go 11. Are they 11, 12 win team, the Lions? No.
No, probably not.
Could they win 11 or 12 games? Sure.
Yeah.
Would I be if they won 12 games, then that means all year we're like, whoa, they're good. If they win 11 games, you'd be like, awesome.
Yeah.
But you expect them to be around 10. What's the over-under for the Lions?
Lions and Vikings are two teams that they could win 9.5.
9.5, right?
So, yeah. So
I think that the Vikings will be the shocking team that for us
good.
that I think everybody thinks is going to fail, that they stay good. Because I'm hearing everyone talk about they got rid of Cook. There's something going on where they haven't finalized a long-term deal with Justin Jefferson, which they will.
Yeah.
You got someone brought this up the other day, and I forgot which show it was. It might have been PFT, or it might have been even Rich Eisen. We got Kirk Cousins playing on his last year.
Yeah, you're right. He's
a guy who was for so many years for one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league and the most overpaid athlete. I think he was on a list of like most overpaid athletes in all sports. I think he was on there. He made a lot of money, and now he's like, hey, I could retire in 6 years if I just do this 1 year and work hard and play right. So
yeah, you're right.
They also have a full season with Kyle Rudolph. They added the tight end. They have a great offense. The running back, he played great.
Oh, well, so going to my next thing, I wrote down, you told me to write stuff down. I wrote down a lot of like random stuff. I wrote down Rookie of the Year, Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back. I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to have a huge year. Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they got rid of both the running backs.
Yeah.
That's not a crazy. I could buy into that.
Yeah.
I could buy into that, but I would say the first team that maybe it seems like people are like it's the Lions division to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both at 9.5. I could be I wouldn't be surprised if Lions just have a Lions season like they do. Maybe they get in with a wild card, but the Vikings are still like, fuck you guys, fuck you. We have a genius offensive coach.
Yeah.
We have a great offense still. Just because we got rid of Cook, what's his name? How do I pronounce his name? The running back.
Dalvin Cook.
No, the running back for the Vikings.
Jahmyr Gibbs. For the Vikings, Madison.
Yeah,
he
was
good.
Great. He was great for. You picked him up in fantasy. So why can't the Vikings all of a sudden why are they all of a sudden not favored to win the division again? You know what I mean?
I don't see, for whatever reason, I don't see the Vikings and Lions being good. I think one of those teams
has to fade.
Is going to fade, and I think the Bears are going to sneak in with one more win than one of them.
Let me tell you this right now. 3 years from now, who do you think you look back and say had a better career? Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins?
Jared Goff.
So then you think Vikings bomb this year and Cousins fades?
I think Goff.
You think Jared Goff shows himself like, hey, screw you, Rams. You got your one Super Bowl, but look, I am a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and
he had a
career overall, he took the Rams to the Super Bowl. He had a good year last year. He's 28. Kirk Cousins is.
He could play 10 more years.
Yeah,
he could be a 10 more year Lion guy at a perfect time. A division that has no.
Yeah.
Who's the best quarterback in the division tomorrow? Are you taking Goff or Cousins?
Dude, I mean that's not a fair question. I'm taking Justin Fields
because he could run the ball.
He's all around.
I think he's an all-around player too. I'm actually not. I'll buy into that sleeper of what if all of a sudden they figure this out and they make the playoffs and they shock everything. I could buy that for sure.
Yeah.
Because that division,
it's up for grabs.
It's up for grabs. And it's up for grabs 100% outside of. I mean, you can't even count Green Bay out. What if he's good?
What if Jordan Love is great? Yeah, you're right.
What if he's good and they hit 3 years in a row? That's the most interesting division in all of football, to be honest.
100%.
Because AFC, it's not even fun. The AFC is not even fun because you're like every team's a playoff team, except even the Titans. Let's say the Titans get DeAndre Hopkins and Tannehill starts, and you have Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins. That's not a fucking bad offense.
No, not at all.
They can easily compete with the Jags. And the Jags, Jags had a fluke year last year, got to playoffs. Don't forget the Titans and one of the best coaches in the NFL. They're not out of it. The only teams out of it are Houston and
Miami. No,
don't talk like that, dude. Houston and who's the fourth team in that division? Jacksonville,
Colts,
Tennessee, Colts. So Houston and Colts are the only teams not in it.
Yeah.
And then you could argue Raiders and Broncos have something to prove.
Yeah.
Outside of those four teams, the whole North could make the playoffs.
That's
Browns,
insane,
Bengals, Ravens, Steelers.
Yeah.
The whole East
fun.
can make the playoffs. The whole West for sure can make the playoffs. It's just like there's nothing fun. It's all just crazy and competitive.
Cardinals are out.
That's in the West, yes.
Yeah.
Cardinals are out. But outside of that, everybody thinks the 49ers are going to win that division. Everybody thinks the Eagles are going to win their division. And then in the South, I guess the South is a very interesting division with the Saints, Panthers, and that's one of my shocking teams. Carolina Panthers win the division.
Nice.
After the Saints is just like I'm not feeling anything coming from there. It doesn't sound good. Atlanta sounds like, are they going to shock us? I don't believe it.
Yeah, but Atlanta's one of those teams like the Lions and the Vikings that they have so many close games come down the line to a field goal at the end of a game. Those like 130 games, they could go either way. So they could sneak like 3 extra wins in
I'll
there.
take back what I say. The South is just like the North. Mm-hmm. All four of those teams could secretly win the division.
In a different way, though.
In a different way. Because how do we not know Tampa? We don't think Tampa's going to be good, but they could.
Yeah, I mean, we saw.
What if Baker makes a comeback?
Yeah.
Comeback player of the year? That's a Baker.
Leading into that, I have my comeback player of the year down.
Who?
If this happens, it's going to be the best story, the best comeback player of the year ever, DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin?
Yes, dude.
They don't really give it to people like that.
I read an article. There's
because what does he play? Linebacker? Safety? It's just not like it goes to a quarterback or a running back. It just or wife's. It just doesn't.
I read an article.
Has it ever even gone to a defensive player? Go look at comeback players of the year. I think like the last 20 years, if they did that, then it's just.
What do you think his odds are to win the player of the year or comeback player of the year?
Well, here's the thing. He has to play. He can't just play 4 games. I feel like if he plays 8, they give it to him for because.
Yeah. But there's a few guys that could win it too. Calvin Ridley, the whole gambling thing. He didn't play it all last year.
Yeah, but hold on. I don't like that because he was suspended. Comeback player of the year is like an injury thing.
Okay,
isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, isn't it like
for any reason?
Isn't it like
it could even
did Geno Smith win it this year?
Yes, but because
he did.
Yeah, but it could even literally just mean you were bad last year.
Yes, I don't think you win it from. Was it Geno Smith this year?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because that makes sense that he would win it. Who won?
Yeah.
It was him.
And then so they think
who won it the year before that? Tannehill.
Burrow.
Huh? Oh, because he had the torn. He missed the whole season. He had his torn ACL.
He missed the whole 2020 season?
No, he got hurt his rookie year, he got hurt like week 6, 7, tore his ACL. Remember?
I forgot about that.
So then his second season, he came back and he's a stud. So that's why.
Yeah, they got that random guy play. Yeah, I remember that.
So it's usually driven from someone who has like a catastrophic injury. Remember they were like, oh, they should give it to Alex Smith because just the fact that he came back, but he didn't play enough games.
Yeah.
Um,
But there was a guy who was drafted in last year's draft, who's supposed to be one of the best wide receivers. Then he got drafted to the Texans, and he got diagnosed with leukemia. They think he could win it this year. But I think
again, that's a great one too. But it's like, who's gonna actually have a great season?
There's two guys who one of these two guys will probably legitimately win it. Matthew Stafford or Michael Thomas.
Matthew Stafford's not gonna win it.
Why do you say that?
Because he won a Super Bowl. Like, he's just like, usually
he was hurt last year.
But it goes to
a knee injury.
I don't think it goes to proven. Like for instance, let's say Patrick Mahomes got hurt this year, and then next year has another MVP year. He's not a comeback player because he's expected to do that. Stafford's expected to be good if he's healthy.
You're
right. He's expected to be good.
I like the way you're thinking, but that's not.
What are the odds for Stafford? That happens.
The odds for Stafford are plus 3,000.
I just think that's how they think. I think they give it. I think Ridley's out of the question.
Damar Hamlin is the favorite for comeback player of the year, by the way.
I understand that because of the whole it is.
Guess who's second?
Who got injured last year that was really bad?
Tua.
He's second.
Yeah.
For comeback player of the year?
Yeah. So if he has a great year, it's comeback player of the year is a pretty loose term. They have Russ on here too. They got Lamar, Cooper Kupp, Breece Hall would be a great one. Garoppolo.
No. Who are the top five? See, those make sense because listen, the Hamlin one makes sense because it was such a monumental thing, but it never goes to that kind of position. So for him, I think if he even plays 5 games, I think they're gonna give it to him, and that's gay. Okay. Now, if Tua plays 14 games this year and has a Pro Bowl caliber year, sure, because he did it. But I think Stafford for me is not eligible because he's won things. For me, the Ridley thing is out because he didn't not play well. He was playing well. He was a discipline thing. They don't want to reward. So you know what I mean? I just feel like it doesn't go with their agenda. Russell now makes the most sense.
But it could comeback player could also mean you did so bad the year before.
Sure. Russell. Like Russell.
Like Russell is on here.
I think
who else is on? Derek Carr's on here too.
I don't see
Murray
how
got hurt.
Derek Carr would be on there. He didn't really have a bad year. I see Russell. I would bet on Russell, bro.
Trey Lance could get. He probably won't start.
I would bet on Russell.
Really?
I would bet more likely that Russell. Because what would Russell have to do to have a comeback of the year? Russell would literally have to, if they won 9 games and he threw 29 touchdown passes, he would win it.
But what about between these 3 guys? Who makes more sense to win it? Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, or Jimmy Garoppolo?
To win it?
Comeback player of the year.
Why does Lamar get to be in there? Because he missed 4 games?
He was hurt. Dude. Yeah.
But it's like 4 games. That's not the criteria. It
was more than 4 games.
It was the last month. How many games did he miss?
I think you're thinking of 2 years ago.
Bro, he also was an MVP candidate for the first 6 games, 7 games.
He missed 6 games.
Yeah, get him out of there. He doesn't count, bro. That doesn't count. They're doing it all wrong. Comeback player of the year is like this guy was shit and on his way out of the league, or had a horrible injury and came back and played at the elite level that they thought he could play at. Those are the 2 criteria. Calvin Ridley is out. You don't get to be a comeback player of the year because you were on discipline leave, okay? You don't get to be on it because, now, sure, if you had a heart attack, if he just walks on the field, does he get comeback player of the year if he plays 1 game, Hamlin? Probably. That's kind of dumb.
Why did Tannehill get it in 2019? He was hurt 2018?
Was 2019 on Tennessee.
Yeah.
No, I think it's because he was just a mid-level player, and they moved on from him by Miami, and he had a great year in Tennessee.
Okay.
That's why I remember he had it one year because it was like, he had a Pro Bowl caliber year all of a sudden. He was a mid player that looked like, Miami's done with him. He's not going to be a starter anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like another guy. It would be like if Carson Wentz had a good year, he would win it. It's got to be like that it's got to be that caliber type of guy or a serious injury. I understand Lamar was hurt, but he's always been hurt the past 2 seasons in December. So it's like
the NFL loves storylines, you're right.
They like to
it's
give
going to be Damar or it's going to be probably Mechie. The guy
DeMar
who
has
had
to hit a
leukemia.
certain amount of games, though. If he doesn't play 7 games, he has to hit 7 games. If he plays 5 games, that's not fair.
Just plays.
I guess if he just plays, he gets it then? That's
Well,
a wash?
Let's see how many games did Eric Berry won it in 2015. He had leukemia the year before. Let's see how many games he played. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
I don't know, man. It's probably going to go to Hamlin then. If he's playing,
So you're saying
does he even? Yeah, they're going to give it to him if he steps on the field.
So you don't think? So Gronk got a lot of injuries 2013. 2014 comes back, has a good year, comeback player of the year.
He did.
Yeah. So
How bad
and
was
he's
the
he was already a star.
But what was his injury though? Torn ACL or something? Missed like the whole season?
I think 13 must have been that year he got
Whole
the guy
season.
pulled his leg. I'm looking up right now, but
It was not 4 games, 5 games. How many games did he miss? Because if he missed only 5 games or 6 games, then you could argue that it's going to be Lamar.
yeah, he tore his ACL
And
and missed
the-
9 games.
So that's more than half the season.
Okay, yeah,
Lamar missed 6 games?
yeah.
Or was it 5, 1 playoff game?
They didn't make the playoffs, did they? The Ravens.
The Ravens played in the first round against the Bengals, and they
you're
almost
right.
won.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, let's see.
So he missed 5 games. So that means he played in 12 regular season games. He played a whole season. Or is it he missed 6? Did he miss 6 regular season games and he played 11?
You're right. He missed 5 and then the wild card game.
Okay. I would say how about this? If Lamar is an MVP candidate, you could argue that he could be comeback player of the year, right?
Yeah.
You could argue that but if he comes back and he's just, a top 10 quarterback and they're doing fine, no, he would have to be an MVP candidate, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But great. Like
Okay.
have a great play to his best.
You know who could? You know who a guy who really could? I don't think it's going to happen, but if Mac Jones had a great year, that's a comeback player of the year. That's
I
a
like
perfect.
that.
That's a perfect person.
To not get back. Yeah, okay.
That to me is like that's the style of a guy that could get it, because you're like, okay, good rookie year, bombed his second year, comes back, has a good year, right?
Well, let's see. Why is he not even on this? It's going to be one of these guys like Foster Moreau, tight end, who's on the Raiders now.
It's never those. But look at who wins. It's like usually like
Eric Berry, leukemia.
oh, he did win it. So they do
Mac
like
Jones
this-
is
it
up here
looks like
plus
it's-
4,000.
It looks
Carson
like
Wentz is up here too.
looks like it's gonna go. Well, he's definitely not.
Do you know who actually could be? OBJ.
He very well could be him.
You're
Yes,
right, yeah.
I would bet on that too.
That'd be a good.
There's
or
a
even
lot-
Aaron Donald didn't even play much last year.
No, they shut him down. He played like 12, 13 games,
For real?
and then they shut him down.
He's up here.
Cup didn't play. It actually could
Cup
be
is
him.
pretty high. He's very high.
He's the high one.
Yeah, he's 5th on this list.
Man, there's actually a lot, man. I would actually bet.
Brees Hall was a great running back last year for the Jets. Then he tore his ACL.
Listen, if,
Comeback
all right,
player of the
depending
year
on
race
what
is
happens with this
exciting.
Hamlin thing, that's where I would go. I would say I would rather put, if you said, all right, you have $200 and I'll give you $50 to put on 4 different players. The 4 players are got to do the Hamlin one, because if he gets 3 games, 4 games in there, they're giving it to him the fact that he came back, right?
Yeah.
Because of whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I disagree with it. I love the story. I'm glad he's alive. I'm glad he's healthy. I love that. Great job. But he collapsed late. That was the 15th game of the season. He played all year. If he comes back and he plays 2 games, do we give it up? Like, we've already done parades for him and stuff. Like, let's relax.
Yeah.
Let's give it to these guys.
Okay.
If Brees Hall comes back and does what he was doing before he gets hurt, he undoubtedly deserves it the most out of any player in the NFL, because he was going to be the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
And he
He's the
comes
best
back
running
as a running back. He's 1 for me. 2, OBJ, because he hasn't played for a whole year, and since the Super Bowl, he hasn't played. He's number 2. And then number 3 is Cooper Kupp, because he was the Super Bowl MVP. Those are the top 3. And then you want to get into 4, then you can go into like maybe Tua, because he missed 7 games. And then, but Tua's with Lamar. They both would have to have MVP type years for you to give him that.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, whoa, that's a comeback because they're playing at such an elite level. The other guys don't have to. Cup and OBJ and Bryce could have mediocre years and they get it.
Yeah.
Like if OBJ has 1,000 yards receiving, that's not a Pro Bowler, but that's it. He wins it.
100%.
If Cup has 1,200 yards receiving, he deserves it. But
a guy on here that we haven't talked about.
But Breece Hall, for me, that one, he went out week 6.
What do you think about this? This is a better than Mac Jones. Sam Darnold is on here pretty high.
That's another candidate.
If he has a
but I don't
decent
see him,
year.
I don't know what's going to happen over there. I just don't. I feel like maybe he starts, but if he holds the job, he would have to play really good for him to take the job from Brock Purdy. But it seems like they're saying Brock Purdy's going to start.
Yeah. But these guys are saying, like, George Kittle said he's never seen anybody throw a ball better than Sam Darnold.
They are all high on it, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I've always cheered for this guy. Even when he was on the Jets, he just seemed like a nice, likable, humble guy.
Yeah.
Going back to the shocking teams, we talked about Carolina. We talked about the Vikings. The Saints, I think, could shock everyone going the other way. Like bombing.
Going the other way, yeah.
Bombing really bad.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, they just don't do well and it doesn't work out for Carr. And we go, oh, that's what he was. And he fades out into the sunset like like any other guy who's been around for a while and just becomes a journeyman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
that's what he comes
Like his
into.
brother.
But he gets to be there for 2 years. These two you're going to disagree with. My last two shockers. You're going to highly disagree with them because I know one of them.
Come on, dude.
You're
Really?
very high on this team right now.
I'd like this. Sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, who do you think I'm going to say? But just one of the teams that I think could shock us the opposite way is one of the teams that you're very high on this year. So I just think that's why it would be shocking that they could go not drastically the other way, but they could go the other way where like they might be an 8-9, 9-8 team.
Okay.
And that's the Chargers.
And you're going to say that. Really?
Yeah, because I think that there was question marks around the coaching there, and they brought in a big coordinator this year for offense when he isn't he an offensive minded coach anyways?
100%.
So then they bring in an offensive coordinator, so he's giving up his. So that's already like we've agreed that I failed at one part of my job. It's not like in Miami you have McDaniel who's an offensive guy and you're bringing in a defensive genius. You're like, whoa, we have this locked in. Now let's lock in a defensive guy. Staley's supposed to be an offensive coach, right?
Yeah, but
and then he doesn't do the job he's supposed to for Herbert. So you're bringing in the guy who got fired from Dallas to kind of fix what might be could be a micro problem with the Chargers. The defense. I don't know. I think the defense had a lot of injuries last year. I think they were like the Dolphins, where they have a lot of good talent and they were supposed to be better than they were.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll see how they have a lot of talent on the line, right? They have Cleo Mack and Bosa. And then they have J.C. Jackson, your old boy, with the FSU guy as the safety back there for the Chargers. They have
Derwin James? No.
James.
Yeah.
They have an elite defense.
Crazy, yeah.
So were the Dolphins have that same thing. It just underperformed last year. I think both teams underperformed defensively. Offensively now, they have a lot of injury fucking prone wide receivers. They did address it. They drafted a guy, right?
Yeah, they drafted a guy, but they got some weapons.
Who's their tight end?
Their tight end is they got Quentin Johnson. That guy was great.
But Mike Williams and
Keenan Allen
have just
But they're Austin Eckler. They're
great running back. Great.
Gerald Everett is their tight end.
I just think in that division, here's how it comes down to: does the division finish the same exact way it did last year? Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. Sure, we want to believe that, but I don't believe that the Broncos went 5-12 last year. I don't believe that Sean Payton is not worth at least 2 wins. So then you put the Broncos at 7-9 at worst. I'll even give them, hey, he had a rough year transitioning. Russell Wilson, he's an athlete. We've seen it. Give him an extra win. Now you put him at 8-9. If they go 8-9, who in that division is going 4-13 or 5-12 that the Chargers get to win 10 games now all of a sudden? You don't tell me that they're going to struggle with Denver and go 9-8 and they battle each other out, because Kansas City is not losing at minimum is winning 10 games. There's first of all, if the Chiefs went 10-7 because there's 17 games now, that's shocking.
Yeah.
If they went 10-7, you'd be like, uh-oh. You'd be like, with all those rookies last year winning the Super, like, uh-oh. So at minimum, they're an 11-6 team at minimum. I'll bet you their over-under is actually 11 and not 10.5.
Chiefs?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it was 10.5. Although
so you
Vegas,
think it's 11.5.
It's 11.5, right?
Uh,
I would be shocked if it was 10.5. I'm saying.
It's 11.5.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're not. They're gonna. If they go 11-6, that's bad. So if they go 12-5, let's assume that they'll probably go 12, 13, 14. They'll win one of those games. So let's say they go 12-5. So they have 5 losses. You think they're splitting with the Chargers and Broncos, or they're winning the whole division? It's just like
you're right. Yeah.
It's just it doesn't mathematically add up that all these teams. Like the Chargers, for the Chargers to go 10-7 last year, they went 10-7 and made the wild card, right? They made the 6th seed. We went 9-8 and made the 7th seed, the Dolphins. Yeah. But for the Chargers to get the 6th seed, they might have actually gone 9-8 as well, because they beat us and got the tiebreaker. What was Chargers' record? I just want to make this point.
It was 10-7. So
10-7. For them to go 10-7 last year, they needed the Broncos to go 5-12, and they needed the Raiders to go 6-11.
Yeah.
For them to go 10-7, both of those teams are not going to do worse. So now you got to take some of the wins away from the Chargers. Then.
Okay, so
that's all I'm saying. That's 4 games.
With what we're saying is, you're saying either this.
I'm saying mathematically the Chargers can't do as well if you assume that the Raiders and Broncos are going to do a little better.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So you're saying if the Chargers do well, the Raiders have to do so bad.
Yeah.
Like 3 wins bad.
Look, they won. Look, if the Chargers won 10 games last year and the Chiefs won 13.
Yeah.
Mathematically that division went, you had a 5 and a 6 win team.
Yeah.
So you assume the Raiders and Broncos are going to do worse than they did last year? You remember how bad that was? I assume both of them are going to do better, so that's going to have to take away from the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So who are you going to bet on, Chiefs or Chargers, of who's going to do worse? When the Chiefs had 8 rookies last year and won the Super Bowl, I assume they're only going to stay elite.
And their coaching isn't shit. They have a great coach. Yeah.
And that's why I said this coaching thing, there was a couple people upset about the Chargers last year and the coaching staff. Yeah. He's giving up his offensive duties to a guy who got fired from Dallas.
But he's still pretty good.
He's still pretty good. And they have a very talented team, but it is set up for a shocking disaster. More so than the Jets and the Bills.
Yeah.
I do have the Bills as my other shocker.
To not do well?
To just go the other way. It doesn't mean they don't do well, but I think everybody would be shocked if the Bills were 10-7.
Yeah.
That would be shocking because their over-under is probably 11.
I agree with you more on that. But I really like what you said. I hope both those things happen. I don't think they will, but I hope both those things happen.
We both hope because it helps because those are all playoff contending teams. But I just think mathematically the Chargers are in a harder position than Miami is, and the Jets have to play so perfect on defense like they did last year. Yeah. And I don't think they will, but it will be made up for offensively. I think the 2 games they lose on defense, because the defense isn't as good, they make up for an offense, but it still puts them at trying to figure out Aaron Rodgers is older. Do we believe Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Tom Brady and play till he's 45 when he's kind of like got one foot out the door? I still have them at a mid-level team. I think their over-under is 8 games, right?
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't even have them in the upper power rankings. They don't even have them in the top 15.
9.5.
Yeah, preseason rankings, they don't have. So they're right there with the Dolphins, 9.5. Yeah. So everybody thinks that those teams are equal, and we don't know what to see until we all want to just see how Aaron Rodgers comes out. After week 3, we'll be like, okay, this is what's going on with the Jets. You know what I mean? We don't know yet, but we assume it's going to be a playoff contending team. Uh-huh. We know Buffalo is. We know Miami is. Nobody knows about New England. Nobody really knows about Pittsburgh. We know the Ravens. We know the Bengals are playoff teams. The Browns were like, let's kind of
Who
see.
knows?
It's
Yeah.
another. If the Browns are equivalent to the Patriots, but I would say the Jets are higher than them because the Browns are like. But the Browns could also, all of a sudden, he's comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
But will they give it to a guy who
Oh,
had
that'd be-
allegations?
They'd have to.
You
That would
know?
be insane.
If that
dude.
guy comes out and plays how he was in the playoffs, that fucks
Yeah.
up the whole league.
Yeah, you're right.
Mathematically speaking, then the Bengals got to lose some. They can't be so good.
I think the other way. So going into that, I wrote down here: Bengals win Super Bowl. I think the Bengals are gonna have.
But that's not like they're probably top 3 favorite. It probably goes Chiefs, Philly, Bengals.
I'm not saying it's crazy, but I am saying I think they're gonna have a legit year regular. I think they're gonna lose like 3 games. I think they're gonna have a crazy year in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm buying into them. For me, the Ravens are like the Jets. Let's
Yeah.
see. I'm like, it looks like this could be good, but like defensively they would struggle
Yeah.
last year, and offensively some teams can figure out Lamar, but he's gonna get his stats,
Yeah.
and he's gonna play great, and he is great. But offensively, they have their scheme that everybody's seen now for 4 years. We don't know defensively. The Steelers, I'm not buying into it. I know that everybody else wanted to because, they've never had a losing season, and they should have last year, but they went on a long win streak. I don't know. I don't know. The
Yeah.
Browns, I don't know either. I think they like their coach, but Bengals, I feel like, are the clear favorite. And then, like we said the Titans, like, let's not count them out necessarily.
Yeah. The Titans are.
If they were someone who got Hopkins,
But that's why we can't speak on this yet 100% because if the Patriots end up with Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Hopkins, then the 7.5 win total for preseason is turning into 9.5.
then you have 3 9.5 teams right
Yeah.
there. And then it's all about, then it comes down to literally the quarterback play.
Then it comes out to literally
comes
if you win,
down to quarterback play.
you have to win 9 games to make the playoffs in the AFC East.
This year, for sure, a 9-team win gets in because of how
Yeah.
competitive it is.
Exactly.
Most years you would be like, it's 10. Last year was the first year you saw 9-8 got you in with the
Yeah.
7. And you're like, and I think we're going to see that trend more often, that 9 gets you in now
I like
because
it.
of how many good teams there are and how deep this is. But whereas in, you're going to have to win 10 games in the NFC to get in. You have to go 10-7.
Exactly. And
Because
that's
it's going to be so top heavy that there's going to be more. Yeah. You know what's great about the 17-game season? This is the best part about football too. You can start off. You could go 3-5 in your first 8 games, and make the playoffs.
yeah, easy.
And that's a rough first half. You're like, oof,
Wasn't that
something's not going well.
Wasn't that the Niners last year? Weren't they pretty bad the first 4 games? They were like 2-2 or 2-3.
They
I
definitely
think
won
they were-
like 10 in a row.
I think they were 2-4 at some point.
I don't know how bad it was, but
It was like, oh, geez, what's going on there? And then they ended up being the best team.
the Flores years, the Dolphins were 1-7, very underachieved. I think at that point I was like, oh, Flores lost. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But then they won 8 in a row. But
Going
there was
in-
another team that started all a little slow, but also Dolphins were 8-3 and went 9-8.
That's crazy,
So,
dude. That's why I love this football.
That's why it's so crazy. I was sitting there thank God we went on that run and we still made it, but it was just like a good team can fall out. Like you just don't. That second run is what it is, and that's what kind of carried the Eagles. They were actually good all year. They were the longest undefeated team. 49ers had the
biggest stretch.
biggest stretch of a run, and then, but so did the Chiefs and Bengals.
We're,
They went because the Bengals started off slow. The Bengals were, dude.
so did the Chiefs. The Chiefs were like not slow for the Chiefs. Like they were like
I think they ended up going 14-3 though, so they're not really slow.
slow for the Chiefs.
What is that? 2-1, 2-2. Were they 2-2?
Let me see.
I think they went 14-3. There's no slow if they're 14-3.
Preseason. All right, they were 1-2.
Yeah, and then they went out.
So 1-2 for the Chiefs is
Well, yeah.
and then they were, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. They were 2-2.
There, that's a slow start. Sure. What did they end up going? Yeah, then they only lost 1 game the rest of the year, the whole year.
Yeah.
They
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were
The
like, all right, what's
the
going on?
Bengals actually, bro. When I go back and look at the Tua first concussion game against the Bengals, it's 7-6. We got the ball at midfield. Throw the ball away. We're gonna win that game.
Yeah.
We were gonna win that game and go 4-0, and the Bengals would have been in big trouble because right there in that game, I believe they were. I want to say that they were like either they started off like 1-2, and they would have been 1-3 or something, but they got to 2-2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
I
You're
think
right.
I remember
that was
they
a big
had
game.
a slow start, but that would have really sucked momentum out of them because we almost actually came back even with Bridgewater. He was driving down the field and threw a pick right at the end.
Do you think there's something with that Bengals field? The DeMar Hamlin thing happened
That's
there.
two separate incidences. One's a concussion, one's a heart thing.
Yeah.
It's just a coincidence. But
we're seeing like a much more competitive in basketball and in football. Like last season was
athletes
so
are
fun.
getting better.
Dude. What's up?
Athletes are getting better and better.
So like you said in the beginning of the playoffs this year, the NBA playoffs, you're like, this is the most exciting it's ever been. That first round was crazy. It was
the bubble, but till this day, the bubble's the greatest sporting event I have ever watched in my life. Of all my life, it was so awesome. It was like, I can't wait to watch the documentary about that. It was unbelievable. Like, I remember being like, this is crazy. This is like every game was intense. And it was almost like no one mattered. You were watching a tournament. You were watching a tournament, whereas this year you were watching a Cinderella team, and you're watching the best team, Denver.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, that's the best team. We expect Denver to probably win. Once we saw them after the first round, you expected maybe the Boston to go. Yeah. Right? Once Miami won in the first round against Milwaukee, you're like, this is Boston's side. And then you saw, but it wasn't like, it was exciting, but that dude, you didn't know anyone could win any given day in that bubble. Yeah. Because there was no fan bases. So it was just like straight up street ball. Yeah, and it was like every game was intense. You had like, even in that first round, you had Murray and Mitchell going back and forth, 50-point games. It was crazy.
Do you discount it at all for the Lakers?
Not at all.
No.
I mean, this year proved it. Both of those teams ended up going to the Final Four.
Okay, yeah.
Right? You had Denver versus Lakers.
Wait, all four, that was the same, it was the same Final Four, right?
Yeah, that too. No, it was.
Wow, I didn't even
think about that. So it's the same Final Four as the bubble. Same exact Final Four. So there
you
go.
It proved to be legit. You're right.
Was it? No, wasn't it Milwaukee versus Miami?
No, Celtics. Remember Bam blocked Tatum?
I thought that was in the second round though.
Nah.
So we took Milwaukee down the second round. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And
you
then
took Celtics
and the Lakers took down.
Six.
It was Denver in the finals, or not the second round. I don't remember.
That might be. You might be right about that.
But either way, the Lakers Heat were back in there. It was like, no. I think everyone this year, that excludes that.
No, yeah, it was the same Final Four.
It was. So then there you go. I mean, all four of those teams were like, hey, man, we've been good for 3 years in a row. So there you go.
Dude, yeah.
It doesn't exclude anything. And if anything, maybe the traveling helps teams or hurt. I think this. I will say home field advantage has not been powerful for the Celtics over the last few years. So it didn't matter.
You're right.
And if anything, not traveling would have helped Denver more because they would have had the home field advantage.
Dude, I didn't realize that was the Clippers' year. They lost to Denver in 7 in the second round then. And
I remember we were kind of like hoping because I was scared of them. I was like, oh, they might.
So you're rooting for Denver pretty hard in that?
I was just like, at that point, I was like, oh, great, Lakers are going. Because I wanted LeBron to get his fourth. Okay. And I thought that they had struggled. The Clippers had the Lakers number all year. Remember, they had won like all of the games.
Yeah, so
they won all four.
That was a fun finals for you then. I forgot. That was your two teams.
Yeah. I was secretly, in a way, going like, I'm fine if LeBron wins. Whereas this year, if I would have matched up, I would have been like, let's go.
Okay. Would you ever name a dog LeBron?
No, because that was while I had a dog named Wade already. It's got to be a new win.
A new win? Okay.
All right.
Well, I wrote down here, dude. I want to know what you think about this. Two things. I wrote Cowboys make deep run. I think they're going to at least go to the NFC Championship game. I think they're going to have a
I
big regular season.
I think that last year they won a playoff game, and that was the thing of like, there you go. You didn't keep losing in the first round, still believe in Dak. I don't know. That's the thing about the NFC East. I don't know about that division. We all want to jump on and say, like, the Eagles are clearly, until someone figures out how to stop that offense and slow it down. The Giants got better, dude.
I love the Giants. Yeah.
The Giants got fucking a tight end.
Yeah. I don't think.
I like the coach. I think this is what I think about Dallas. We're all just waiting for it to not work. When is it going to happen?
Yeah.
When are we going to blow this up?
Yeah.
When are we going to watch the owner go, I got 5 years left of life. Blow this up and go for it in a different way. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
So I
I think there's so much sense of urgency there, and I think that offense, I think it's going to be great because I think they're going to have Tony Pollard as the main back.
Yeah.
And Zeke is just going to come in first. They're going to sign him first game of the preseason. He'll be like a secondary back.
So you think Zeke stays in Dallas?
Yeah, nowhere else is going to sign him.
Why? Because he's going to want too much?
Yeah, way too much for what he's worth.
There's a lot of running backs out there that won't get signed probably till preseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. And I also have down here Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers is going to be a top 5 wide receiver.
In the NFL?
He is.
I won't buy that. He's good.
Very good.
But the thing is, that's a 49ers offense. So
they spread it out so much.
Yeah, that's why.
So it's hard to rank that.
So you can't. All right, how about this? He's not going to have more yards than Jamar Chase.
No, he could get as many touchdowns as Devontae Adams, I think.
Well, I'm not sold on what Devontae's going to do this year.
He led the NFL in receiving touchdowns last year.
I think it was just With Derek, I feel like Derek Carr throws a better deep ball.
Than who?
Than Garoppolo.
Okay. Oh, so you're not sold on Devontae this year?
Yeah. But I would also bet Devontae over Ayuka, and I would say Jamar Chase, and I would say the sleeper one of our world is Waddle. When you're like, oh, Tyreek, we're going into Waddle's third year, 1,000 yards receiving his first 2 years, unbelievable. I'm watching his training videos. Does he lead? Well, also, not to get hyped, someone on the Dolphins is going to be a top 5 receiver. Again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Only because Tyreek this year was like, I want to break the record. He goes, that's what he said this year. He's like, I want to go after the record this year.
The touchdown record?
No, the receiving record.
The yardage record? Wow.
Yeah. He's like, I think I can break the record this year. That's what he said. Good. So I'm like, great. Love that attitude. Love watching Waddle go. I think the offense is even more explosive. It's our first time in a second-year offense. So I think those wide receivers are going to have a great year again, barring injury.
Yeah.
Cross my fingers.
It's third year, right, Waddle?
Third year.
Yeah.
This is a big year because then, next year he gets to be like, we got a lot of problems if we have a good year.
Who
going forward? But I won't sell. I'll tell you who's going to have who could be a top 10 for sure. Wilson on the Jets.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, bro, he's gonna have.
Yeah.
That's Devontae, the new Devontae. Like he's gonna make that guy a superstar.
Yeah.
Hopefully, right?
So what do you think about this?
And then I'm trying to think what. And then don't buy anyone in the Chargers having a top 5 season.
No, but so arguably Ayuk and Waddle.
Justin Jefferson's already in top 5, so there you go. 100%. That's why Ayuk's out.
Well, okay. Well, Ayuk,
Jamar Chase,
Waddle.
Adams. That's 3 right there.
Okay.
That are 100%. You will even agree are going to be having a better year than Ayuk.
Yeah.
That's 3, right? And I know we're thinking of other ones I can't come up with.
Well, my thing is
OBJ.
I'm talking about OBJ. No, you never know.
All alone with Lamar.
You never know. But I heard Brandon Ayuk is impressing people like crazy.
I saw that. It was a headline. But but impressing someone, he can have a top 20 wide receiver year, and that's a great year.
You're right.
But to say top 5, you're talking about.
But he was already great last year, and he's impressing his teammates like crazy who have seen him. So
but top 5, you're talking about touchdown. Crazy.
He's a very fast guy. He got Debo Samuel and Kittle getting all the yards. He's a red zone guy, gets all the touchdowns. But
top 5 in touchdowns, you're saying, or just top 5 receiving?
It's top 5 receiver. However you want to.
I mean, like because that you're saying he's gonna do better than Stephon Diggs.
Yes, I think it would be better than Stephon Diggs.
Are you drafting Ayuk over Stephon Diggs in a fantasy?
Yes, I am.
I would like to see. You know
There's
what?
drama going on with
you're
Stephon Diggs right now. It's
you're
not the
gonna
guy to
be
ask.
you're gonna be in my fantasy league this year. We're gonna have two fantasy leagues this year. We're gonna start one with your stupid idiot friends.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be in it, and I'm gonna guarantee that I go to the playoffs.
Okay. 4 teams make the playoffs.
In your league?
Yeah.
Why not 6? There's not 12 people.
I think it's 10. We can do 12 then. So
You gotta
you're
do 12.
You're in it now.
Wait, who's it? You have a fantasy league already?
Yeah.
With who? Comics?
Nah, my friends.
No. We gotta create one with
Comics?
everyone we know.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you this question, dude. Arguably the top 2 number 2 wide receivers on a team in the league is Ayuk and Waddle. Who would you, objectively speaking, who would you rather have? Who's better? Who's a better football player, Ayuk or Waddle?
Well, the first Waddle.
Why? They're around the
Just
same.
his route running is way better. He's faster.
He's
I
kind of
would
like
say
a Devontae.
Ayuk maybe has better hands,
Yeah.
but Waddle, like he's got
Ayuk
the way
is
he
fast
moves,
too, dude.
The way he
Ayuk
runs
is
his routes
explosive.
is unbelievable.
Waddle's
Ayuk's a
more like a
bigger guy.
Devontae. He runs great routes.
I think they're
Good
two different
hands.
style players. I think Ayuk is bigger,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that Waddle is just it's a different style. Like Ayuk is trying to be Jamar Chase. Is like a bigger guy. Like Waddle is just
Ayuk's probably only 6 feet tall, dude.
I don't think anyone. I'm not even saying this objectively.
25.
I don't think anyone I know would
Yeah, he's
take
6 feet tall.
Ayuk over Waddle. If now, like
You don't know the right people, dude.
mm,
Ayuk
go-
over
go-
Waddle.
just go. All right, how about this? Pull up preseason fantasy football rankings of wide receivers. Just do that. How about that? And we'll go based off that. I think that's a fair assessment of a bunch of known people are going to rank them and that's a good fair assessment that can argue between you and me. Who's number 1?
Devontae.
Who's number 2? Jamar?
Justin Jefferson.
Oh, of course. He should actually, to be fair, he's first.
Yeah,
He should be 1.
I agree.
He should be 1 because of the whole Garoppolo thing is scary. Because what if Garoppolo is not 100%? Who the fuck is throwing the ball over there?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase,
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, for sure.
Jamar Chase.
Cool. Who's 5?
I don't agree with this. Stephon Diggs.
I still think he's going to be great, bro. He's been
You can't say this.
he's consistently been good 4 years in a row. Why would it all of a sudden stop? Because they're having some beef?
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Cooper Kupp,
Of course.
who's hurt.
But he'll be
A.J.
back.
Brown.
AJ Brown?
Yeah.
Of course. Agree.
I don't know if I agree with this. Terry McLaurin. Commanders.
He's been consistent though.
Mhm.
But I don't who's throwing the ball over there?
Probably Heineke. Then I'm going to go quicker then here because there's a lot. You got CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans, Hopkins, Wilson, DK. Oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, should be higher. I think he's going to have a crazy year on the Lions.
Sure.
DJ Moore, Chicago. Fuck. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk. So they have Jalen Waddle at 17 and Ayuk at 20.
So they're close,
Yeah.
but I also am taking Waddle
T. Higgins
and
is
Ayuk
crazy.
over. I'm taking him over. Go back up. I'm taking him over a lot of those guys.
I'm taking both of them over DJ Moore. I'm taking both of
For
them
sure.
over right now over Garrett Wilson. We don't know. We don't know about Hopkins.
I'm not. Garrett Wilson's going to he's the number 1 there. That's why. So you got to look at it like this. Logically, Waddle can only do so well, but at one point they were both on pace to go over for 1,500 yards receiving, and Waddle ended up having 1,300, and Hill had 17. So that's fucking crazy. So I would say the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL would be Waddle.
Okay.
That's the thing. He's behind a bunch of the fact that Waddle.
So then 21 is Chris Godwin. Who'd you rather have, Ayuk or Godwin?
Oh, next year Ayuk, because it's Mayfield. But my whole thing is, out of all those players you named, Waddle is the only number 2 guy. Besides Ayuk, Ayuk's the number 2 guy in San Francisco. But
Yeah, he's the first 2, and then
he's the first 2, though. That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
how good he is.
Yeah.
The fact that he's
That
with
was-
the third best player.
Well, exactly. That's our whole
With
argument.
Tyreek.
That's our whole argument.
I'm
is-
saying you said who am I taking? You right now,
'Cause
Waddle or
Samuel's
Ayuk?
on here too. Samuel is 10.
Yeah.
Debo.
Sure, but you said, who am I taking if we're doing a fantasy draft right now and I don't have a team?
Yeah.
I'm taking Waddle over Ayuk all day.
I know you won that argument, but I'm saying they're right. They're right there.
Sure, but if I'm building a franchise tomorrow, I'm drafting Waddle over Ayuk all day.
Okay.
But now, if you're talking about like a fantasy strategical thing, that's a different story. I'm talking about who's a better football player.
Dude,
and who do I think is going to have a better career?
Okay. We got some. The NFL is weird to where like after 20, most of the numbers 21 through like 25, they're all second best receivers on the team.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of like very stacked
But I don't even buy
like
I'm taking Waddle and Ayuk over McLaren.
Me too. And then
you know what I mean?
Then you got Tyler Lockett on the Seahawks with DK.
Taking Waddle and Ayuk over him.
You get, dude.
Are you going past the 20s or just 10 plus 10? Like, where's Devontae Smith?
He's right before Ayuk at 19.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's right. I think of the
you're right.
Of the number number two wide receivers in the NFL, if we look around the league, T. Higgins is the number 2, right? He's number 2 to Jamar.
Yeah, so I was
and what's
wrong.
he at?
I was wrong a couple. So
what's
what's
T. Higgins at?
So Jalen Waddle's 17.
Is he the first number 2?
Devontae Smith. Yeah, he's the first number 2. Devontae Smith is 18. T. Higgins is 19. Ayuk is 20.
Who's number 16?
DJ Moore. I think
Waddle will have a better year than him. Who's number
Ayuk
15?
Will too. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's going to go crazy.
He's number 1 there. So who's number 14?
DK. I don't know if we know yet how that's going to work out.
What's going on with DK?
No, I just don't know.
You would hope that the thing is he could have an equal year to Waddle. Like, did he even have a better year than Waddle last year? That's the thing. Waddle was like top 10 receiver last year. That's what's crazy. Well, okay, and then who's before DK at 14?
13. Wilson.
Yeah,
and then you got Hopkins at 12.
I'm buying in Hopkins. I'm not buying. I think he falls out of the top 20.
Same, but then you got Mike Evans at 11. I'm not buying that.
I had him last year in fantasy. He struggled.
Yeah.
He did not put up the numbers until like later in the year. Yeah, which is weird because let me just pull this up right now just to confirm.
This is interesting, dude. Number 26 is a number 2 wide receiver too. Do you know who the number 2 wide receiver is on the Cowboys?
It's they just picked him up this year.
Bro, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
That could be crazy.
It could be crazy, but like, look, okay, here it is. Jalen Waddle finished 7 in the NFL in receiving yards. That's what's crazy. He finished 7. It goes Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle. And by the way,
is Kelsey not on that list? Or is that
he's right behind Waddle.
Okay.
And by the way, Waddle 3 yards behind CeeDee Lamb. And less than 60 yards behind Diggs. So basically, one nice catch, he's a top 5 wide receiver last year with Hill. That's how crazy of a year they had. By the way, this is why people are high on the Dolphins this year. Tyreek Hill, 1,700 yards receiving. Waddle, 1,356, right?
Jesus.
8 touchdowns for Waddle, 7 for Tyreek Hill. Tua was only quarterback for 12 of those games. They did that with other quarterbacks too.
Yeah.
That's why it's crazy.
Okay.
You keep this guy healthy. That offense is only in year 2. Yeah, you got a full film on us. Let's see what he's going to do this year. That's all I'm saying. Devontae Smith had a great year too, though. He had, and A.J. Brown. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Those are, Philly and Miami are the same thing because A.J. Brown is at 1496 and Devontae had 1196.
Okay.
That draft class with those wide receivers is awesome. Now,
so
let me go to, this is the thing. Brandon Ayuk only had 1,000 yards receiving. So he had 8 touchdowns, though.
Would you take
But it's just their offense.
Ayuk or Devontae Smith?
That's a Devontae.
Really?
I mean, they love that's his guy. They played together in college. He was big in the Super Bowl. That duo, A.J. Brown takes a lot of,
Yeah, you don't know right now who's throwing the ball in San Francisco, I guess.
Yeah, Mike Williams didn't even break 1,000 yards. Oh, he got injured. Not Mike Williams. Who were you talking about? Chris Godwin broke 1,000 yards, but he only had 3 touchdowns. No, who's Mike Evans? Mike Evans Only had 6. They didn't produce a lot of touchdowns. That's the thing. I mean, Stephon Diggs, bro, is going to be right up there again.
You think?
I mean, what do you think? He's not going to have over 1,000 yards? That's the only guy he throws to over there.
Yeah. Gabe.
I remember Devontae Adams had a slow start. That's what's crazy.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Also, look at this. Brandon Ayuk targets 114. Waddle 117.
How many?
He has 300 yards more than him.
How many touchdowns do you think Jefferson caught last year, off the top of your head?
It's right here. 8.
Bro, Devontae got 14.
Yeah.
I mean, 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns with Derek Carr throwing the ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
A.J. Brown had 11 on the same stats, just 3 less on
wow.
88 receptions. That's what's crazy.
Devontae is my favorite receiver probably of all time to watch, dude. So good.
But what a start of a career for all these Alabama wide receivers.
Yeah. Wow.
Garrett Wilson, 1,100 yards receiving with whatever was going on down there. He's going to have a big year, bro. He's going to have a monster year. He's going to put up 1,400 yards.
As a rookie last year, he trailed only Debo Samuel in broken tackles with 22.
Bro, Garrett Wilson, I mean, he's a rookie of the year, right? Yeah. 83 receptions, 1,100 yards. You don't think with Aaron Rodgers he's going to at least get 1,300 yards? That's the bet right there for you guys. That's the bet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, what's the over-under on him? I'm betting the over all day.
Oh, and Garrett Wilson? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's get out of here. That was a long show. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you email the show for questions or comment or like. You can also subscribe on any of the audio podcasts on Apple or Spotify or anywhere you get podcasts. It will be under the Life with Lenoci umbrella, but it will be labeled The Mike Lenoci Show. Check us out. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Goodbye. Say goodbye, Anthony.
Bye. Thank you.